With the introduction of Saber to the new Melty Blood, there's a lot of lines that are starting to get blurred. But this just leaves the Fate community to ask, what is Melty Blood really, and why should they even care? And we are here just for that. So originally, Melty Blood was a game and a visual novel that functioned as a follow-up series to Nasu's first visual novel, Tsukihime. His company, Type Moon, then extended their reach over to the developers at French Bread, and the final result was the fast-paced 2D fighter that we know as Melty Blood today, the first one being released all the way back in 2002. Considering all the responses to the game's success, it was able to get its own manga detailing the same events that were in the game 3 years later. Now, I know a lot of people weren't around for the Tsukihime wave initially, but if we're being completely honest, when you think about the Fate in the Tsukihime worlds, they go hand in hand. At this point, it almost feels like a sin not to like them both. However, many people weren't really given that opportunity because Fate was such a huge commercial success and the series was overshadowed. Melty Blood takes place in the Tsukihime world, and many of the aspects that you find in the Fate world, the Magecraft, the Dead Apostles, the Holy Church, the Association, all of those things originally took place in the Tsukihime world first. This is why even after the biggest drought in mankind, people still find that Tsukihime and Melty Blood is a big deal. Now let's get into the story's cast. One of the main differences that you see in the Melty Blood Tsukihime timelines is that it gives a direct focus to vampires, with Shiki Tono being the protagonist. Shiki Tono, while appearing to be just some normal high school student, is the survivor of a psychic wielding clan known as the Narnia. When he was only a child, his near-death experiences gave him access to the mystic eyes of death, and his Narnia background gave him access to the pure eyes, each of them having the ability to understand the concept of death and his targets on a supreme level respectively. You have Arkaway, the main heroine for Tsukihime and a true ancestor that fell for Shiki. Literally one of the strongest beings in both verses, she could probably dust half the servants in Grand Order with half her power. Sion is one of the main heroines for Melty Blood, who works for the Atlas Academy of the Association. She is also the designated successor to the Elnum family. No, your eyes do not deceive you. This is the same Sion from Fate Grand Order, but from a different timeline. And that is the reason why she showed up. Sion Tatari is a counterpart to her original version that's been taken over by the Dead Apostle blood in her. Akiha is the head of the noble Tono family, and she also takes on the role of Shiki's sister after he was adopted. She is secretly a mixed blood descendant, the same descendant that is usually hunted down by the Narnia and the Fujo clans. Very ironic situation, I know. Roa is an unranked Dead Apostle ancestor who was able to reincarnate nearly 20 times just through his research. In reality, you come to find that he's just some horny dude that gets off to getting chased down by Arkaway. Nero is a current Dead Apostle ancestor who was sent to track down Arkaway following her awakening. Koma is also known to be a mixed blood descendant. He is the one that single-handedly destroyed the entire Narnia clan, including Shiki's father. Then you have Miyako Arma, who is Shiki's cousin. More specifically, she falls in a cousin branch to the Tono family, meaning that she is half demon as well. But don't feel too sorry for her. She does know Baji Swan, and she will punch a hole through your chest. Satsuki, who was cast off to the side in the original due to deadlines, is now one of the heroines to the reboot of Tsukihime. She is also a Dead Apostle. Kohaku and Hisui are maids that serve the Tono family. They're also a branch of the Fujo family who are one part of the Demon Hunter organization. Alko is the main protagonist of Nasu's Witch on the Holy Night, but she was also a mentor to Shiki Tono when he was younger. She is one of the best mages in the verse, period, and she's the one that gave Shiki his glasses to fend off the migraines that were caused by his power. Noelle is a character known to be Shiki's teacher, as well as actively working as an executor for the church. She studies her profession under Ciel. Ciel is Shiki's friend, a main heroine, and an upperclassman who also represents the church. Formerly, she was set to be a host of one of Roa's many reincarnated bodies. Lin is a familiar that formed a contract with Shiki in the Tsukihime sequel Kagetsu Toya. White Lin is a counterpart to said character who was created by Alco using fragments of Lin as the base. With this, she was able to gain the ability to talk and much more. Vlav is the stand-in for Nero Chaos in the Tsukihime remake and the 19th Apostle Ancestor. Then you have Reisbeif Strideberg, who is the leader of the Shield Knights for the church and an associate to Sion prior to the events of the Melty Blood story. My guy, Wallachia, formerly known as Zephia, is the true antagonist to the original Melty Blood series. He is also a dead apostle ancestor through extensive research. So after the events of Tsukihime, Shiki met up with Sion to explore a new phenomenon that was happening all over the city. There were several unexplained deaths popping up all over the place that seemed to have spiraled out of nowhere. This was revealed to be Wallachia, Sion's ancestor, who started to attack the town with his vampiric abilities. The ability itself is known as Tatari, which turns a rumor and unsound information into the real thing. Through this, he was able to manifest several bodies from the Tsukihime storyline, even if those characters weren't around any longer. Inside his reality marble, these simulations have identical strength to the originals. So alongside Sion, Shiki had to fight off these illusions in order to reach Wallachia. We come to find that Sion was looking to create the Philosopher's Stone, and the reason why is because she was turning into a dead apostle already via Wallachia. She had been fighting back these urges for a few years. The story tells us that Wallachia's research really drove him off the deep end. He forms a contract with Arkawa's sister that would help him combat the Sixth Law. That Sixth Law being a force that was set to inevitably end the world. As a true ancestor, Altrog had the power to bring forth the father of all apostles himself, the Crimson Moon. Upon his appearance, the contract was set in stone. Really, it was an experiment that would allow him to reach the level of a true ancestor, the highest level in the vampire chain, and then he might actually have a chance. He was able to later accomplish this by taking on Arkawa's Tatari body. Since he used to be an alchemist for the Atlas Academy, part of his job was to prevent the world's destruction. Unfortunately, he took this a little too serious, and once he turned into a dead apostle ancestor, his train of thinking had no signs of turning back. The contract that he was given to defeat the Six would last up to 1,000 years until the next Crimson Moon returned. This plan got thwarted the moment that Shiki got involved. By the time that the real Arkawa showed up, it was already over. She is so broken that she can reach into the future and bring back the Crimson Moon early. This effectively shattered the contract that Wallachia had and any chance that he might have of reaching his goal. The contract was also destined to return him to his original form. Therefore, he was stuck to fight them as Zephia. After his plan begins to go left, Crimson Moon was able to speak through Arkawa's body, telling him that trying to battle the Six is pointless. By the time that he would finally reach a result, it would be the end of mankind itself. The Melty Blood games that would follow up would feature Alco creating White Lin by combining Lin with Wallachia's remains. And since she was made from the remains of Wallachia, she was able to use Tatari herself and create yet another storyline to her own liking. Then you have later versions of the game, such as Melty Blood Atrix Again, who has Dust of Osiris as the main boss. This was an alternate version of Sion had she reached her dead apostle ancestor form. Her intentions were to utilize the same Tatari as Wallachia, but clean up all the mistakes where he left off. And then you have Melty Blood Lumina, the newest branch to the series and a prequel to the new Tsukihime remake. Turns out that this Melty Blood specifically took us back in time as a way to flesh out Tsukihime's rebooted story. Let me know what you guys think. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Shout out to all the patrons, and I will be back with more Tight Moon content. It is your boy Tsiah. I'm out.